Welcome to Joa Fitness Health Wellness Video Podcast, a space to ignite your day through positive conversations. We bring people that have created excellence in their life, sharing high vibration in their reawakening path.
But they misunderstood what I was trying to say. I didn't care about the straight teeth. I was just more worried about, he has crowded teeth. Why? And nobody can answer the why until I did more research and found out there's reasons like tongue function, mouth breathing, posture, food, all these things that can cause a smaller jaw that will cause the teeth to be crowded.
Thank you for being here every Friday. We are bringing topics about posture and spinal health. And I can tell you, my name is Joa Rivas. I am in the city of Toronto. And I'm very excited to bring this podcast to everybody dedicated to our spinal health that sometimes we neglect. And I've been talking about posture for a long time because I actually had scoliosis when I was 15 years old. And this one actually changed and shifted my entire life just by finding the way to heal my back. In 10 years, I healed it. And now after 20 years, I'm so excited to bring the knowledge about how I did it myself and how others are doing a lot of work for people to help them to feel strong, especially now that we're sitting for long hours, we're hurting our back. Sometimes we don't even know how much tension we're putting in our neck holding the phone. So we are reminding you what to do, and this is the podcast for you. If this is something that excites you, please stay tuned with us. And today we are with Dr. Mandeep Johal. We had her last week, and we had a great interaction in 15 minutes talk. Like we shared so much great tools that we have in our hands. And today we have her again, and I wanted to just thank her to take this time that is so precious for her to be with us and share all her knowledge about posture and dental care. How are you, Johal?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yes. As you see, the sun is just behind me. I'm super excited watching the sunrise this morning. It was beautiful. It was beautiful colors. I connected to my intention today and so blessed. I'm just so blessed to have you here because there are not many doctors like you that have actually dedicated time to study about posture and dental care. Like the jaw is so crucial to understand our spine. So we're just so blessed to have you. And last week we had you and we had great feedback from people. And I actually wanted to share one of the feedback that we got from the last podcast. Somebody said, Elephant Shoe, that the name is Elephant Shoe. It says, perfect timing for this informative video. I started mouth taping a couple of months ago during my sleep to promote nasal breathing. I didn't give it much thought to my daytime breathing until this video. Thank you for the topic, Joa and Mandeep. Okay, thank you. So this one is, thank you, Elephant Shoe, for your comment. She's commenting that she's been trying to do mouth taping in the night, but she didn't know that actually nasal breathing is something that you can actually practice during the day as well. And we are bringing awareness to all this. And thank you so much, Elephant Shoe. I hope this helped you. And today we're going to be chatting and going deep into more information about this. So Dr. Mandeep, we're going to be just sharing today a little bit more information about you, exactly like where everything started. Dr. Mandeep is actually a dentist in the city of Toronto, and she has helped a lot of people to release their tongue, so tongue-tied release. She's a therapist for this specific issue. And we also know that she has been working for not only adults, but actually infants and toddlers. And I wanted to know, like, your story. I know you're a mother. Tell me how many kids you have and what happened to you as a dental professional when you had your kids.
Okay, well, thank you. I have two kids. They are two boys, 8 and 6. And my journey started when my little one was about 3 or 4. Cute as a button, finally started going to sleep, didn't think anything was wrong. And until I started seeing his crowded teeth. And they weren't super crowded, they're just mildly crowded, but I knew that at 3 and 4 years of age, you should have a millimeter of space between all the baby teeth. And he didn't. So I just asked around. I'm like, hey, I just asked around other professionals, my colleagues. I'm like, guys, my kid has crowded teeth. And at this age, they're not just going to uncrowd themselves as he gets older. What can I do? And they all will just like, don't worry about it. We'll put braces on him when he's 13, 14. I'm like, oh my God, it's like my husband's story. My husband had braces for a long time. He's a carbon copy of my husband.
So how old was your kid? Was 2?
He was at that age around 3, like turning 4. He was about 4.
And they predicted already to use braces.
Yeah, but they just said to wait. Wait till all the baby teeth come out, and then we'll put braces on when he's 13, because that's a very common practice for orthodontic treatment. But they misunderstood what I was trying to say. Is I didn't care about the straight teeth. I was just more worried about, he has crowded teeth. Why? And nobody can answer the why until I did more research and found out there's reasons like tongue function, mouth breathing, posture, food, all these things that can cause a smaller jaw that will cause the teeth to be crowded.
Okay, so this one was your first or your second kid?
My first one.
Your first kid. So when this happened, you just start reading books and being curious about it?
And start taking lectures, going to courses, traveling to the States. Like that's where I love the States for that reason. They're very, especially in California, they're very forward. I would have gone to England from the one doctor that actually started this premise of developing kids' faces when they're younger, Dr. John Mew. I know a lot of you guys maybe know about mewing. It's on everywhere now. Everybody's mewing. But John Mew and his son, Mike Mew, are amazing. So they set the premise for all this. And then the doctor that I learned from John Mew, Dr. Bill Hanks. And anyways, that started my journey. So that was about 5 years ago now.
Okay. So if you remember that time, being such a pioneer in this type of approach, what did it actually was the biggest aha moment when you were discovering the connection between the teeth position and the nutrition and the mouth breathing and all this? Did you notice that actually your son had certain patterns that were actually influencing for this?
Yes, that was the thing. So again, like I went there because his teeth were crowded. And as soon as Dr. Bill Hanks started talking, okay, so crowded teeth, the tongue isn't in the right posture. It could be tongue tied. I'm like, okay, what's tongue tied? Then it led me to thinking breastfeeding. Oh my God, breastfeeding was a horrible experience. I'm like, oh my God, it started from birth. It was horrible breastfeeding.
So what is tongue tie for those people that don't know what tongue tie is?
It's a little string of tissue that sits underneath the tongue. I don't have it because I got mine removed. It's called the frenulum. And what that does, it restricts the movement of your tongue. Okay, that's what we're looking for. I don't care, but I don't look just for the structure. I look for the function of the tongue. And that's what was impairing my son is he can function the front, but not the middle or the back. So breastfeeding is a horrible experience. He was gassy, he was colicky. All these things were interconnected. And then I looked into his breathing because Dr. Bill Hanks said, you know what, Mandy, you should take a look. How's your son breathing at nighttime? I peeked in to see how he was breathing. But at that time, I also had my second son. So I had 2 kids they're less than 2 years apart. So as you can imagine, it's pretty busy. I'm just grateful to get sleep. So when he told me to look in how he's sleeping, I'm like, fine, I'll take a look. And he was sleeping with his mouth wide open. And I'm like, oh no, and head tilt. Okay. I just thought it was cute. I didn't think anything of it. So he was mouth breathing all night long. So that's when I started putting all these pieces together and start learning and taking numerous courses about diet, posture, TMJ, malocclusion. That's where it all comes together. Mm-hmm. It's all connected, but it starts from birth.
Yeah. Okay. That was so interesting. When your son is bigger, it's a son, right?
Yeah.
He probably will be like, Mom, so did you use me as your experiment, mother? Yeah. Well, it is true. Like things happens in our life, and we only can take the signs to learn from that. So it's very inspiring and very intuitive as a mother to be able to do this, and also good for us. Look at what you're doing for us. You're teaching us so much. To us, at least here in Toronto, there is not many like you. So that's something very important to know. When you're really good at something, you become the source of solutions. So I'm very happy actually to find you, and thank you for sharing your story. And what about your second son? Your second son also has some issues. You actually start helping.
Same. Well, because when I started finding it about my oldest son, my little one was probably about 2 by that time, right? So my breastfeeding and stuff was still horrible with him, but again, I didn't know. I didn't connect those pieces together. Having kids so close in age is all a blur. So I start finally putting it together later. But the way he would sleep, his tantrums during the day, he was my kid, that my youngest one, I thought about ADHD, because he would have these massive meltdowns. And I was like, oh gosh. So when I looked at his sleeping behavior, he was grinding his teeth at nighttime. He also had open mouth posture, and he did have a soother. I don't judge parents when they give their kids pacifiers. You got to do what you got to do in the beginning. I don't recommend it, but you know what? Our lives are what it is, and you got to do what you got to do. So then I learned with him how breathing affects a child, and mouth breathing affects people completely differently. Tongue tie affects people completely differently. And then you'll see different postural behavior as well. My one son has more of a forward head posture. My other one is just like the straight spine, but he doesn't have any movement or gait when he's walking. Like, it's just his gait's off. So those are the things that led me to look at everything. So we could talk about feet posture as well one day. It's all connected.
Yeah, no, it's very abroad. This topic, literally how we are connected from head to toe, is super important. Talking about this, last time we actually chatted about mouth breathing. It's a topic that is getting popular now because we recognize that people that are breathing from the mouth, they have a shallow breath. They're developing issues not only on a physical level, but actually mental level too. They're developing more anxiety, and they have more even levels of stress, because we cannot oxygenate our brain normally. So I wanted to also share something that you brought up last time, was about the connection of mouth breathing and actually the brain cognitive. I think there are some studies you wanted to share, and why not to go into that particular topic.
Sure.
Cognitive connection development and mouth breathing.
So like I just said about my youngest son, I thought he was going to be borderline ADHD because his behavior during the day was off. And that's related to sleep. So when you're mouth breathing, especially during the nighttime, studies have shown the effect that it has on the frontal cortex. So the frontal cortex is the one that allows us to make our decisions, and the right decisions. And as you know, that's the part that's not even fully developed for kids, especially for males, till their mid-20s, right? Like, we always talk about that, like the younger kids, especially teenagers, can't make the right decisions. But think about the mouth breathing, the effects that it has on the frontal cortex. Tons of studies that have been on that. So kids that are diagnosed with ADHD or have sleep disordered breathing, first thing you should always be checking is make sure they're not mouth breathing, make sure they're able to nasal breathe. And that's shown huge improvement.
Do you think mouth taping a kid, it will be okay? Is that a good practice to do or not?
So I'm not going to say yes, just because I don't know the kid situation. So I learned about taping through Patrick McEwen at Boteco. And he always stresses, I think it's over the age of 6 or something, you can start taping your kids safely. It's just, we don't know if there's obstructions. We don't know if there's tonsils, adenoids, are they stuffy? So it's kind of scary to tape them at nighttime. But the Boteco breathing tape that Patrick does have, it's the myotape. It actually goes around the lips as opposed to on the lips like this.
Okay.
Right. So that you still have movement of your lips.
Okay.
So that type of tape would be okay to use, but I never tell any of my parents just put it on their kids unless I've assessed them, taken a look at them, and make sure they can actually breathe through the nose.
Okay, yeah, that's very important, because many people try to self-experiment. So it's important to first find the professional can guide you and understand after a screening and assessment that what is actually the solution for this specific problem that causes snoring. There are kids that are already snoring, and a kid that snore is an adult that's going to snore for sure. So the younger we can fix this, the better. The earlier we can find solutions, the better. The last one I wanted to share today, it was how the position of the jaw can affect the spine. I mean, it could be a long topic, but generally, what is
I got a good one
of the jaw, exactly how the position of the jaw can actually affect the spine, especially now that we're holding our smartphones and we're lengthening some muscles are shrinking, and how this can actually cause us a spine dysfunction.
Okay. I just wanted to say one tip before, but the other comment about the taping for kids, if parents want to try for kids, do it during the day is what I usually recommend while they're watching TV or their iPads. just tape from here to underneath the chin and just see how they do during the day. Just anyway, side tip.
What type of tape?
I use 3M medical grade tape.
Okay.
Or I like kinesiology tape as well because it has a little bit of give. So I use that as well. And it's colorful. So anyways, to go to your question, actually, I wanted to tell you this example last time about the jaw and how it affects your posture. You're going to love this because it relates to you, unfortunately, to your past. So one of my mentors for holistic biological dentistry, Dr. Bob Clinton, who's up north of Toronto, he told me about this study, fascinating, about how there was an experiment done on a rat, okay, to show the link between posture and jaw. What they did on this rat was they put a white filling on his molar to build it up. So that means the bite was off, okay? And you know what they found? That rat developed scoliosis.
Oh no. Oh wow.
Can you believe that? But then they took it off and then the spine went right back.
Oh,
isn't that fascinating?
Oh wow.
They're so much smaller, right? So there's not as much there'd be far more involved for us. But isn't that so fascinating? I was like, I gotta tell this to Joa. She's gonna be like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
So I'm not saying that causes scoliosis. I'm not saying it's the only cause for scoliosis, multiple causes for it, but that could be one cause. So that just goes to show you how it affects the whole alignment of the spine, right? Yeah. So when we're talking about posture and jaw, what we really care about is, why do we care about that? It's because the skull is resting on the atlas, on the first vertebrae, C1. But there's only 2 points of contact. Every other vertebrae has 3 points of contact. But when C1 atlas only has 2 points of contact, the third point of contact is going to be our teeth, or occlusion, how they come together.
Okay.
Right? So if you can imagine three-legged chair, if one of them's out of position, it's going to be rocking, correct? So then that means if our jaw and our teeth aren't in the right position, that's going to affect the atlas, the C1. It's not going to be in the right position. And think about it. That's your first vertebrae. If that's off, it's going to have a domino effect going all the way down.
Okay.
Right?
Wow. Okay. This one literally we talk for another hour, right? Right? We can talk for another hour about this. We love your work. Thank you so much, Mandeep. I really love every single topic. It has so much potential to learn from it. And for us, for parents, and for us, why not to find this information and be able to apply it, and also find professionals like you that can assist you. It's very important. This is just information from a good source, but we always recommend you to find your local doctor that can actually give you a better advice. One question that people ask me, do you do any consultation online for people that are in other provinces or countries?
Yeah, I do. I do that all the time. We do have quite a few patients that are from like West Coast, East Coast. We have a couple of patients from Montreal and Halifax as well. So yeah, consultation. There's so many tips and stuff that we can just talk to you about over via phone. And if I do need to see you in person, like for tongue-tied consultations, it's just one visit you got to see me for.
Okay, okay, that's great to know. Like now that we are digitally connected, we can get so much globally. So great to know that. How can we find Dr. Mandeep? Well, she's here in the city of Guelph in Ontario, and her Instagram is Dr. Mandeep Johal. I will add it into the notes. She also has her Ontario Tongue Tie Center, and the practice is in Guelph. And as she just said, she is actually available for everybody around the world on an online consultation. So thank you so much. Let's just summarize for today. I wanted to summarize a little bit of what we chat so people can get the juice out of it. I wanted to share what would be the 3 tips for parents to take into consideration when their kids are breathing through the mouth in the night.
Get an assessment. You have to get an assessment to figure out why they're breathing through the mouth. And that assessment include an airway dentist like myself, a nutritionist, because we got to make sure their diet and their nutrients are where they should be, or they could be another reason they're breathing through the mouth. And an ENT. Are there large tonsils and adenoids in there? I'm not an advocate for surgery, But if there's an obstruction there, that should be dealt with as well as soon as possible.
Okay, right. So we got those 3 steps to follow. If you have any more questions, please contact directly Dr. Mandeep. I'm sure she has a team that can help you to solve all these. And for next week, we're going to be chatting more about these topics. If you have any comments, please write down, and please subscribe to the channel so you can actually get every week the notifications of our talks. And thank you so much, Mandeep. Do you want to share something else before we end?
Yeah, well, what I wanted to share was for next week, what we can talk about is all these things we're talking about, mouth breathing, posture, is much harder, as you know, to deal with when you're an adult or older child. So what I've done is take it one step further or down upstream is dealing with children, babies. So there are tons of tips we could talk about on how to get your baby to start breathing through the nose, the signs to look for, and introducing the right type of toys and right type of feeding instruments and utensils so we can help with the jaw development for babies at a younger age. Why not do it when it's easier and they're babies as opposed to dealing with their older, right? Things I wish I would have done when my kids were babies, I want to put that out into the world and help other parents so they don't have to go through stuff later on in life.
Yes, that's so important to be touching. Then the next topic will be just about what toys to stimulate our jaw and to actually avoid any type of spinal dysfunction in the future, right? Why not to do it now? And to be conscious parents is so good. Thank you so much, Mandeep. Dr. Mandeep, thank you for your time and your sharings. And everybody, have a beautiful weekend. And remember that together we are stronger. And by the way, I wanted to personally invite you for my complimentary class next Wednesday, the May 26th at 8 p.m. is going to be celebrating the full moon with Phil Jacobs. We're going to have a sound healing therapy teaching yin yoga and Nidra, Yoga Nidra, with a beautiful practice to surrender and to simply breathe with the music and your breath. So we expect you there. We wait for you there. And the link is going to be in the notes. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful weekend.
We invite you to subscribe to this channel and share with your community. Please leave comments below, and if you like the episode, click the like button. Have a beautiful day.